Good afternoon and welcome to your math lesson for today. Last week we completed topic 7, so this week we are going to be beginning topic 8 in math. Today's topic 8 lesson 1 is make numbers 11 to 19. Our learning intention is I can read and write numbers 11 to 19. Let's get started. Our solve and share begins on page 325 in our Envisions Volume 2 workbook. We are now going to be using the second math workbook, so make sure at the bottom of the front of your workbook it says Volume 2. Our solve and share says use counters and 10 frames to show 12, then 15, and then 18. Draw your counters in the 10 frames below. Tell what is the same and different about each number you show. Now, not everybody will have counters at home, so you can also just use your pencil. We have previously worked with 10 frames before. We know that one frame has 10 squares in it to represent a 10. It wants us to show the numbers 12, then 15, then 18. Let's begin by showing 12. You can draw circles, X's, or put a dot in your 10 frame. If you have counters at home, you can also use that. To show 12, I am first going to begin by filling in my tens frame. By filling in my tens frame, it will give me 10, and then I can count on. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now that I have filled in this first frame, this is equal to 10. I need to get to 12, so now I can count on. I have 10, 11, 12. I filled in 12 of the squares to show the number 12. Now if I want to show the number 15, I know that I can begin by filling in my tens frame and count on. Be doing it on your paper with me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I can count on till I get to 15. I have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I filled in 15 of the squares to show the number 15 in the tens frame. Now we have to show the number 18. I'll begin again by filling in my tens frame. I know that if this whole frame is full, then that is equal to 10. Then I can count on. Now I have 10, and I need to count on till I get to 18. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. When looking at our completed 10 frames, something that I noticed that is the same is that each of these numbers used a full tens frame to count on. Something that is different is the number of X's we completed in the second tens frame. For 12, we had 10 and 2. For 15, we had 10 and 5. For 18, we had 10 and 8. Let's watch our animated video to learn more about counting with tens and ones.
Eleven, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. What do you notice about the numbers? All of the numbers start with 1. The other digit increases by 1 as you count from 11 to 19. These numbers are made up of one group of 10 and some left over. How many counters are in the top 10 frame?
Select your answer.
Looking in just the top 10 frame, I see that all of the counters have filled all of the spots in the frame. I know that when the frame is completely full, it is equal to 10.
There are 10 counters in the top 10 frame. That makes one group of 10. There is one counter left over in the bottom 10 frame. What number is one group of 10 and one left over? 11. Without counting, can you tell how many counters are in the top 10 frame? There are 10 counters. How do you know? When a 10 frame is filled, it shows 10. What is a group of 10 called? A group of 10 is called 110. There are 7 counters left over in the bottom 10 frame. What are the leftover counters called? Ones. What number is 110 and 7 ones?
Let's try it. Drag the counters to the bottom 10 frame to find the number. We have the top 10 frame completely full, so we know this is equal to 10, which shows the number 10 below. If I move a counter to the bottom 10 frame, watch how the number changes. I added one more, so the number increased by 1. If I add another, it increases by 1.
One 10 and 7 ones make 17. Without counting, can you tell how many counters are in the top 10 frame? There are 10 counters. There are 9 counters in the bottom 10 frame. What number is 110 and 9 ones? 110 and 9 ones make 19. What is the same about the numbers 11, 17, and 19? What is different about the numbers? They each have 110. They have a different number of ones. Now you know how to show numbers as a 10 and ones.
Great job!
Now let's look at your guided practice on page 326. The directions say to use counters to make each number. Then write each number as one 10 and some ones. If you don't have counters at home, then you can just use your pencil. Let's begin with the number 12. I'm just going to show my work off to the side here. If we use counters to make each number, so I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. By counting this way, I made it look like I was counting inside of a tens frame, so that I automatically know I used 10 and then 2. The number 12 is made up of 1 10 because I used 1 of a full 10 frame, and then I had 2 left over. 2 ones. So the number 12 is made of 1 10 and 2 ones. Now let's look at the number 14. Number 14, so I'm just going to count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. When counting to 14, I used 1 10 and 4 ones. We used 1 10 frame and had 4 left over, so that would be 4 ones. Let's do one more. Let's do the number 15. The number 15, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This time when counting, I used 1 10 and then I had 5 left over. The number 15 is made of 1 10 and 5 ones. Something that all three of these numbers had in common is that we used 1 10 for each number. Something that was different was the number of ones that were used. Now let's look at your independent practice for the rest of your lesson. For your independent practice, beginning on page 327, you will need to pause the video to work on these equations. For numbers 4 through 9, it says use counters to make each number. Then write the word or number. Just like we did in our solve and share and our guided practice, it wants you to make each number. And again, if you don't have counters, you can just use your pencil. For number 4, the number is 16. It wants you to write the number 16 in the blank and then tell how many tens it is made of. For number 4, if I make 16 dots to show the number 16, tell me how many tens did I use? It tells us that we used 6 ones. So that would be B6 below. How many tens did I use? Write the number in the blank for number 4. For number 5, it wants you to write the word for the number in the blank. The number is 18. It wants you to write the number 18 in the blank. 8 was one of our sight words. Do your best to spell the word 8 and then "een" is in the numbers here. E-E-N. So for numbers 4 through 9, it wants you to either write the number in the blank in the box, tell how many ones there are, tell how many tens there are, or write the word in the blank for the number. Again, you will need to pause the video to work on this page. I'm going to begin talking about number 10. So go ahead and pause the video so that you have time to work, and when you press play, we will be talking about number 10. Number 10 says vocabulary. Circle the tens and ones that match the words shown. Here we have the number 12. When you think about the number 12, it wants you to circle, are there 0 tens, 1 10, or 2 tens? Then how many ones are there? Are there 1, 2, or 3 ones in the number 12? You will circle one choice in the top row and one choice in the bottom row to tell how many tens and ones there are in the number 12. You will also do the same for this number, 15. In the number 15, how many tens are there? 0, 1, or 2? How many ones are there? 5, 6, or 7? Once you have completed this page, we have one more to complete. Pause the video so that you have time to complete working on this page. When you press play, we will begin working on our last page, page 328. For the last page of our lesson, page 328, it wants us to problem solve. The directions tell us to solve each problem below. Let's begin with problem number 11. It says, use tools. Jill has 14 buttons and 2 boxes. She puts 10 buttons in one box. How many buttons does Jill put in the other box? Draw counters to solve. Write the numbers. Let's begin by filling out the 10 frame that has been provided for us. It tells us that Jill has 14 buttons. So let's fill in 14 of the spaces in our 10 frames. It then tells us that Jill puts 10 buttons in the box. If she puts these 10 buttons in the first box, they want to know how many does she put in the second box. You will write your answer in the first blank here where it says blank buttons. So if Jill puts the first 10 buttons in the first box, how many are left to put into the second box? Write the answer in the blank. It then wants us to tell the number 14 is made up of how many 10s and how many 1s. You can look at the 10 frame to help you. How many 10s did we use when making the number 14? You will write that answer in the first blank. Then, how many 1s did we use to make the number 14? You will write your answer in the second blank. You can pause the video at any time if I'm going too fast. For number 12, it says higher order thinking. Choose a number between 11 and 14. Draw a picture to show how to make the number with 10 frames. Then write the number in the number word. So you are going to be making a number between 1 and 14, and you can do this by drawing your 10 frames. And yours don't have to look exactly like mine. This is just how I like to make my 10 frames. So I drew 2 10 frames. Now you get to pick your number. So think of your number between 11 and 14 that you would like to pick. Then write that number in the first blank here. Do you have your number? It has to be between 11 and 14. Write that number in the blank. Now, in your 10 frame, I want you to fill in how many counters it would take to make that number. If you chose the number 11, fill in 11 spaces in your 10s frame. If you chose the number 12, fill in 12 spaces. It then wants you to write the number word in the bottom blank. Just do your best to solve the word. But if you look at our workbook pages, you may see one of the words that you chose. We will be checking our answers during your math intervention time, so I can help you with your spelling there. But try your best to spell it on your own. For your last problem, problem number 13, it says assessment practice. Match the groups or numbers on the left with the numbers on the right. On the left, it says 1 10 and 7 ones. I would then have to look at the column on the right to match the word that matches this description. 1 10 and 7 ones. My choices are 18, 10, 11, 17, 13. 1 10 and 7 ones is the number 17. As you are reading through your clues on the left column, you will match them to the number word on the right side. The next blank says 10 ones. Which number word represents 10 ones? 18, 10, 11, 13. Draw a line to match this description 10 ones to a word in the right column. Next, it says 1 10 and 3 ones. Which number word represents 1 10 and 3 ones? 18, 10, 11, 13. Draw a line to match the description to the number word. Next it says 1 10 and 1 1. Which number word describes 1 10 and 1 1? 18, 10, 11, 13. And for our last problem, it says 1 10 and 8 ones. Which number word matches this description? 18, 10, 11, 13. Draw a line to connect the description to a number word. Once you have completed answering all of the questions on this page, you will be all done with your math lesson video. We will be checking and going over your answers during your math intervention time, so please be sure to have it done before then. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you then.